Well, guys, man, I can't believe what I was hearing today on UCSS. I can't believe some of the things that Tyvis Powell was saying. And basically, he was trying to defend the constant hate of Jason Lloyd on Shedeur Sanders. You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Well, today, man, we got to talk about things got a little awkward on UCSS between Tyvis Powell, GBush, and Bull. And we're going to talk about it right after this.
Let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. It's my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your outfits. From politics to your top hits. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio stereo. Pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic. Man, I got something to say.
Well, guys, you know I got something to say, man. Because we just produced a show when we was talking about Jason Lloyd on some of the lies that he's been telling surrounding around Shedeur Sanders. And he's saying that a lot of people are telling him this and telling him that, but we don't know who these sources are. And now that he has stated that Shedeur Sanders doesn't know how to read film, he has to be shown how to read film. He don't know how to read defenses. He don't know how to read coverages. And we know all them lies have been debunked by breakdowns of Chase Daniels and certain quarterbacks around the NFL that played. And they said that, you know, some of the passes that Shedeur Sanders has made have been brilliant passes and have been elite passes. And you can't make them passes without knowing how to read an NFL defense or watching film. So, man, we have to get off into this, man, because Tyvis Powell, he's well respected because he's a former NFL player. But he sits down on UCSS, and sometimes a lot of people say he straddles the fence. He don't put his flag in the ground. He don't stay on the side. He don't pick a side. And a lot of people said, you know, some of his criticism of Shedeur, you know, it's kind of, you raise your eyebrow and be like, man, what is Tyvis talking about? But then sometimes they say he has great points. But for Tyvis Powell to do what he did, to think he had to come out and stand on the front line and defend Jason Lloyd for his constant hate over Shedeur Sanders, it just baffles me. And things got awkward. So let's take a listen to what Tyvis Powell had to say in defense of Jason Lloyd's constant hate on Shedeur Sanders. Let's take a listen.
Jump in front of a bullet for Jason Lloyd.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason was here, and I got sent messages about 3 or 4 times about what Jason said.
Yeah.
About Shedeur, and I gotta set what I think. This is what I think. All
This is
right,
what he's saying.
Jason, I
This is what
love
he
you. Okay, this is. Bear with me. So Jason sat up here yesterday, and he basically was saying that he can't ignore the fact that, and people got to realize that Jason does work around the building. He has sources. So when he says
this idea that people are that he's making stuff
it's
up.
not that
Start
he's
cutting
making
him
this
off.
up out of thin air. Jason does not hate Shedeur Sanders. What Jason feels about Shedeur Sanders as a person and as a football player is 2 totally different things, and people got to understand that. Jason loves Shedeur as a person, but as a football player, I think Jason's in the camp of if he had a bag of cash and he had to bet on whether Shedeur would be successful in the NFL or not, he's going to lean more towards not because of the fact that it's the data, the analytics, and all of those things. Blah blah blah. But when he sat up here yesterday, he said that, you know, Shedeur doesn't know how to watch film, doesn't know when he's hot, doesn't know all of these things. Like, a lot of people came to me and was like, is all of this true? I don't know. What I will say is this. Where I'm at with the whole Shedeur thing is that as a former player, what I will tell you is there were some things that happened with Shedeur last year that was perfectly normal, and then there was things that made me even scratch my head a little bit, okay? The fact that he never got rest with the ones, even through OTAs when it was an open competition, scratched my head a little bit because I thought that was the perfect time to rotate quarterbacks through. However, when you talk about how they handled the situation, skip OTAs, let's get to training camp. When they handled the situation of he didn't get reps with the ones, and he was on a separate field and all of those things. To me, if he was really getting reps with the fours and he was on another field, to me that probably does go into the fact of the film watching. Maybe he didn't understand the playbook and pick it up right away. That's when you get done like that, that tells me that there is something going on with the learning part of it and speed, catching up with everything, to where everybody else, you have some veterans with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco and all those guys. They're able to work with that. Dylan Gabriel was able to obviously show that he can handle certain things and pick things up a little bit faster, which expedited his experience of getting reps with the twos and the ones and things like that. So to me, that part is perfectly normal how they handle Shedeur. The only issue that I ever had was he never got reps with the ones up until the week of his start. That's a problem. Like when you become the clear number 2, there are certain periods throughout the practice where you can designate a couple of plays here and there to a Shedeur Sanders because he is only one injury away. So that part of it is kind of murky to me. As far as him not knowing protections or defenses or when he's hot and all those things, I can't necessarily speak on that because I'm not a quarterback, so I don't know necessarily what goes into that. All I can say is that the reports were that he met with Kevin Stefanski every day to get caught up on everything. So therefore, at some point, he had to learn how to watch film and learn the playbook.
Yeah, that's what Jason was saying.
Exactly.
That he had to
learn. So when you hear that part of it, it makes me believe maybe he didn't know stuff when he first got in there. If he had to meet with a coach every day to get caught up on the thing. So for people getting that part messed up is where. Bottom line is this: Shedeur Sanders needs to start for the Cleveland Browns next year. Why? Because you have to know what he has. I think that his situation is too murky. There's too much craziness that went on into his starting and all of those things that you really don't know. Now you have two sides of the story. You got people that would say, well, he didn't play well because, look, he had nothing around him. They didn't give him a really fair chance. He didn't get reps with the ones until he started playing. So you got all of these things. And then you got people that say, well, we watched him play and he didn't play well in certain situations when you needed him to the most and blah, 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 blah. That's why you have to give him the whole year where there's none of that going on. There is no Kevin Stefanski. There is no worried about if a coaching staff likes him. You got to fix the offensive line, maybe get a weapon in there, give him.
Now, you heard what Tyvis Powell had to say. Now, listen, this is where things get really awkward, and this is where I'm kind of baffled on what Tyvis Powell's position is to come out and try to defend Jason Lloyd. Jason Lloyd is his own entity. He's his own man. You don't have to try to defend one of the Cleveland insiders or the Cleveland beat writers' opinion. Jason Lloyd has said things on countless and numerous times about Shedeur Sanders, and you said it yourself. One sense you say Jason Lloyd loves Shedeur Sanders as a person, but hates him as a football player. Don't mesh the two together. Don't mesh the two together, Tyvis. Don't try to defend and take up for some of the lies that Jason Lloyd has been saying about Shedeur Sanders. And the lies that he's been saying have been debunked by a lot of NFL greats. And now the things got awkward because, Tyvis, you came out with your whole segment of defending Jason Lloyd, basically saying Jason Lloyd has sources around the inside because he works on the inside and people on the inside are telling him this. I totally disagree. And this is why it gets awkward, because GBush had to give you some pushback. And I want you to listen to what GBush had to say in reference to all this, craziness that's going on surrounding around Shedeur. And then Tyvis ends it up talking about Shedeur needs to start as quarterback 1. But you defending Jason Lloyd, and Jason Lloyd doesn't want Shedeur Sanders to be a starter. So listen to what GBush had to say, and this is where things got a little awkward and a little chippy. Take a listen.
Sides to every story. You can hear something from somebody in the building, but that something you heard can actually be not gospel. See, there's two sides to every book. For every person that says Shedeur can't read defenses, I can go and look at a quarterback like Chase Daniels who breaks down how he did read defenses against the Buffalo Bills and how he diagnosed. I could go give you Bernie Kosar who says this is a great job of diagnosing what he's doing right there. I could give you Kurt Warner. So the thing that I think people get to is the definitive nature of it. There's this definitive nature that people speak of as if Shedeur is absolutely garbage. He's not this, he's not that, and it's the absolute level of it. And we're talking about it within a 6-game sample size.
But a couple of things. Number one, that's not really what Tyvis was talking about.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Tyvis was just defending the fact that people are saying he's making stuff up.
Well, no,
you know he's not making stuff up.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you what I said. That's what Tyvis said.
Right, but you're saying you're pushing back.
I'm just going to tell you. Let me get to it. I got to get to it. Like Tyvis just talked for a whole. 5 minutes? But
yeah.
Go ahead.
As I spoke, Tyvis spoke 3 minutes, 4 minutes. We was all quiet. I spoke 36 seconds. You stopped. I'm confused.
Well,
I'm just. Can I get to it?
But it had nothing to do with what he was saying.
But Tyvis don't need an arbiter. He good. Let Tyvis tell you that.
The point is, I'm just saying. You get your. The point is, what you said is actually rational, which I'm surprised because nobody else is rational around here. And you're right. The idea that Jason would make stuff up is idiotic, and anybody saying that
I didn't say Jason made no. I'm saying
G is saying that whatever he's hearing might not always
what I'm
be
saying.
true.
What I'm saying is,
and that's a fact. That could happen.
What I'm saying is, there's two sides of a coin. You can hear things. He said on the show.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Forget what the people told me? And those people are telling me that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people can tell you something and it not be correct. See, a lot of people said in the beginning that Dillon Gabriel was way more advanced and he was the guy and he was doing this. Now all of a sudden, I think it's funny that people now, there's articles. Mary Kay came out and said Dillon Gabriel is not in contention to be the starting quarterback. Now the problem is when you build somebody up to be that and then you see it and then you discard it, it's like, oh, let's forget about that. We talked about Kenny Pickett. We talked about what he was and how he was ready to go. And then we saw him. They moved him and he didn't do nothing. We've been talking a lot of quarterbacks. The reason that people is up in arms, right? And the one thing that we get is this dude has a sample size of 6 quarterbacks. And the thing that we've been 6 games. We've been recycling names of quarterbacks for 6 months. It's the new flavor of the week. It's Kyler Murray. Put one in the air. Kyler Murray ain't coming. Condolences. Anthony Richardson. Condolences to him too. Lighters up. He ain't coming. Malik Willis. Lighters up. He's not coming. Hey, Mendoza, you're not drafting him. Dante Moore not coming. Cade Klubnik not coming. We can keep going. Nussmeier, Aller, all of them. We done got to a point. People done said Geno Smith.
Did we say that?
Well, that's what Jonathan Peterlin and Nick Wilson said. Geno Smith. I love the option of Geno Smith.
What are you talking about? They both love Shedeur.
But I rolled the beautiful beam footage. What people is getting that's crazy work.
That's it.
It's there. The footage is there. And I'm saying, we just saw him head to head and watch. So you telling me you rather have Geno Smith?
No.
Or
I don't think anybody's. I think what Jonathan and Nick were saying, bringing somebody to compete with Shedeur.
Man, now you heard all that rigmarole, man. And I'm glad that GBush had to push back against Tyvis, man. It is what it is, man. Because GBush said he rolled the beautiful beam footage, man. And for Bull to keep interrupting and saying nobody's rational around there, that goes to show you that Bull does not like Shedeur Sanders. Because anytime GBush starts speaking eloquently about Shedeur Sanders and speaking the facts and the truth about Shedeur, Bull gets upset. But I'm kind of disappointed in Tyvis Powell. Man, look, y'all guys, get down in the comments section. Let me know what y'all think about Tyvis Powell, man. This is a little awkward. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for you. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.